Hello, and welcome to the introduction of the SierraNet InFusion traffic modification and jamming functions found in the Net Protocol Suite. My name is David Rodgers. I am the Senior Program Manager for the Ethernet and Fibre channel products here at Teledyne LeCroy PSG. This video will introduce the viewer to the InFusion, Ethernet, and Fibre channel jammer product. A jammer is used to modify the behavior of the transport and protocol interfaces under a variety of specific conditions. It may also affect the function and operation of the components associated with the environment under test. The goal of a traffic modification is to better understand how devices under test can recover from error conditions. Users can modify various events which may be captured and displayed by the SierraNet and Net Protocol Suite GUI and purposefully introduce specific errors. Users may evaluate if the resulting behavior conforms to the associated Ethernet or Fibre channel specifications, as well as validate the intended design of the product. The SierraNet is used in line with the Ethernet or Fibre channel fabric under test. In this graphic, the analyzer is depicted in the link between an Ethernet traffic generator and an Ethernet fabric connected storage array. One connection to the generator, the other connection out to the storage array. The same placement scheme is used for either Ethernet or Fibre channel links. The SierraNet analyzer features paired port connections supporting simultaneous, bidirectional, full line rate observation and manipulation of the link under test. SierraNet supports capture and observation of either SFP-based or QSFP-based links and supports DAC, AOC, and other optical-based interconnections. Once the trace is captured into the analyzer's memory buffer, the Net Protocol Suite client software decodes the trace data, allowing users to see the entirety of captured information, frames, primitives, ordered sets, etc., and all other events in either chronological or event-based format. This analyzer trace may be used to verify how the devices and links under test connected to the SierraNet and behaved before, during, and after the jammed or modified events. InFusion jammer scenarios are part of the project's settings and are programmed into the SierraNet to meet the user's requirements. Several configuration options are available and depicted here. Analyzer only configures the SierraNet for jamming only, and the link modifications or jammed events would occur, however there would be no visual record in the corresponding trace. Analyzer, jammer, and jammer analyzer configure the SierraNet to either analyze the traffic prior to a jam or jam the traffic prior to an analysis capture. And lastly, a key feature of the SierraNet Protocol Suite software is the ability to capture the unaltered traffic prior to the jam action, invoke the jam scenario, and then capture the modified traffic. This is known as AJA, or Analyzer Jammer Analyzer mode. This mode is most often used, and the viewed results may be correlated with other tools the test engineer may be using in their lab setup. The types of InFusion jammer actions include modifying the frame, primitive, or ordered set, changing a frame field value, truncating or extending a frame, inserting errors such as CRC, code word, disparity, or FEC errors, inserting or deleting D words in an existing frame, inserting or deleting frames into the traffic stream, and introducing delay on specific frames. In addition to introducing these errors and more, we can set the jammer to introduce these modifications programmatically. This could be done randomly throughout the test or periodically using a timer. We could perform these actions a specific number of times by using a counter, and we could have the jammer log its actions so that we could monitor its progress during the test. Using the SierraNet software, I will now demonstrate how to start and set up a project. We take the file, New Project, and for purposes of our example, I'll take one of our SierraNet M328 projects, and we'll pick the Analyzer Jammer Analyzer function for a Fibre channel frame. You can see that it's selected. I will say OK, and up will pop both the main menu bar, the project bar, and our jammer scenario bar. We'll start by opening up the jammer scenario configuration software and doing something fairly basic. We'll go ahead and take a look at, say, extended link services frames. And we have an ELS request for a port login. We'll load that into our sequence you can see all the different field options we have for creating a pattern match. You'll note that the ELS is noted here, also depicted in the datagram on your left, and the ploggy is right here. So we're going to take that as our triggering event and say, OK. And we're going to do that once, and on any start of frame, and our direction of traffic, in this case, left to right, for purposes of discussion, our initiators on the left and our targets on the right. We'll say OK. Now, what do we want to do with that frame? Let's modify that frame. So we have a variety of different actions down here, and we will go ahead and pick frame jam. We'll modify that frame. Will give us a variety of options to go ahead and modify that frame. Now you'll see all the basics are still here, the extended link services and the ploggy. But let's turn that ploggy into an abort sequence or abort transaction. Now, when the jammer sees that cap action frame, its event will be to turn it into an abort transaction. We will recalculate the CRC so that it looks normal. We don't need to modify the end of frame or the start of frame. Again, we're going to do it on every occurrence, effectively shutting down port lock-in for this frame. And we're going to add a monitor and account to it. Next, we want to add a destination state. And we're going to add a new state. And we're going to insert a timer for a while. And we're going to shut down this link for 10 seconds, the port login function. Then our action will be, we also want to trigger the analyzer up here on the first occurrence. And then we're going to want to stop the scenario after that 10-second time period. Very simple, very straightforward ploggy jam. Here is a simple diagram depicting what occurs when we select an AJA configuration assigned to physical ports 1 and 2 of the SierraNet analyzer. As traffic enters port 1 of the unit, it is recorded on the logical port 1 of the analyzer software. It is then passed on to the jammer, which may modify the traffic. This traffic is then recorded again by logical port P3 of the analyzer before being passed out through the physical port 2 of the instrument and onto the connected device. Once we look into the trace, we will likely see many of the same events represented on both logical ports P1 and P3, except where the jammer made modifications in the traffic stream. Similarly, we can modify the traffic coming from the device connected to the physical port 2. It will be recorded by logical port 2 of the analyzer, possibly modified by the jammerator, and then recorded again by the logical port P4 of the analyzer, before being passed onto the device connected to the physical port 1 of the SierraNet unit. This AJA configuration allows us to look into the trace and identify both the traffic events sent by devices under test, as well as the actions of the jammer, including those actions removing elements from the traffic. We will see examples of this in future videos as we examine traces taken in this configuration. Returning now to the Net Protocol Suite software application, we can create a new Ethernet jam scenario. Again, File, New Project. We'll go to our M328. We'll create a Analyze Jam Analyze scenario for a 10 to 25 gig link. Select OK. And again, our project bar and our scenario bar. Clicking the pencil on the right, we pick up the scenario window again. And there are a number of things to look at here. In the upper left-hand corner, if we have a series of scenarios that we've saved into the system running Net Protocol Suite, these would be available for use. The window in the lower left may contain a list of jam scenarios already assigned to this project. And a given project may contain several jam scenarios, as well as the capture settings of the analyzer, trigger, filtering, and port configurations. The project file can be saved and used later, retaining any jam scenarios we may have created in that project. And we can drag and drop scenarios from these windows into the action states and the sequences. The window in the middle here contains a global state and two sequence states. Most jammer scenarios will only use one sequence. However, the addition of the global rules and subsequent sequence states allows the analyzer to perform multiple types of modifications at the same time, independent of one another, and can be helpful in creating some complex jam scenarios. Each sequence can contain up to 20 states, depending on the complexity, and allow us to create a detailed state diagram of actions we would like the jammer to make. Each state has up to 4 different if conditions to which we could assign several events and several actions. The window in the upper right contains a list of events upon which we can trigger in various states of the sequence, and the window on the bottom right contains a list of several jam actions we compare to the trigger events to describe what we'd like the jammer to do. I'll pick any IP frame. I'll drop it in here. You can see again our blank pattern. And for further description, X values in the frame are byte values that don't care, and question marks are bit values that we don't care. This is a very generic way of looking for a pattern. So this would take any IP frame, any IPv4 frame at this point, and we could attach an event to this in an action. We can select the direction, and again we can count it randomly every third time it happens, or up to a variety of different depths. For purposes of our discussion and our demonstration here, let's pick a couple of things that might be fun. IPv4, and we have an IP protocol here. Let's pick P. Let's see, what do we have here we can quickly go through. You can see that there's a variety of preset options that the analyzer comes ready to use in your scenarios. FC over Ethernet, we'll look for that. We'll modify that frame. Again, my datagram. When I find that, I want to change the IP protocol to, how about UDP Lite? Again, every nth occurrence, trigger on a given pattern with a variable header length, useful when you may have a variety of different virtualizations in your configuration. And stop the scenario after the 10th occurrence. We won't need to add a timer now because we're going to physically stop it after 10 times of it doing this. We'll invoke the monitor and the count, say OK. Again, branch to a destination state in here, add a new state, say OK. I want to also trigger the analyzer again up here when this first thing happens, first time it happens. Then in our subsequent state, we will look for, we'll look for any symbol, sync header. Let's look for a local fault idle, and stop our scenario. Again, a very simple jam. Created it down here. We can save and rename this. And it's available for use now and in the future. Thanks for viewing this video, which is the first in what will be a series of instructional videos reviewing the features and functions of the SierraNet Ethernet and Fibre channel protocol analyzers and the Net Protocol Suite software. The InFusion jamming function is native in the Net Protocol Suite application. No other licenses or modules need to be added. InFusion supports jamming for both Ethernet and Fibre channel fabrics, and in some models, the FlexPort option allows users to simultaneously exercise both fabrics. The tools and functions of the Net Protocol Suite support all layers of Ethernet and Fibre channel traffic and across a wide range of speeds and applications. If you have specific questions, you may contact me or my colleague Jim Yasueda at our direct email addresses noted here. Support information may be found in our online manuals, which are embedded in the software, and support questions may be directed to psgsupport@teledyne.LeCroy.com. The Net Protocol Suite software is free to download from our secure server site at the link noted here, and a one-time registration will be required. The option for automatic updates of the software may be selected upon installation of the Net Protocol Suite. This is David Rodgers. I thank you again for joining us. We'll see you here again soon.